Hi, I'm Maddie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to build habits with something that I invented called weekly targets. So you may have heard that to make big changes in your life in really big ways, sometimes we have to start with making changes in smaller ways over time to build up to those big changes. There are instances where you can make like some big giant change at one time and that does work and that does stick and that's amazing and life-changing for you. But for a lot of things, it's the small changes over time to your lifestyle and habits that actually make the big changes that you're looking for and those long-term shifts in your lifestyle and your health and your goals and your finances and your relationships and just how your brain works, mental health, so many things. Those small things are what adds up to actually reach the goals and the vision or the changes that you have for yourself or that you want for your life. So something that I did was I started doing something called weekly targets for myself, and this changed my life. So it's super, super simple. Basically, I would just think of something that I wanted to start implementing in my life or doing more of in my life, and I would create a target amount of times that I wanted to do that thing in that week. So I know sometimes people start trying to make changes and habits by picking a schedule or a routine. Maybe like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week. I'm going to go every morning at 7 a.m. or I'm going to go, 4 nights. I'm going to go, or every night after work at 6 or whatever it is that you have in your mind that you want to do. And they just try to dive into that full force. And then maybe they didn't make it to the gym that many times or at the time that they said, or they fell off their goal of trying to go every single day. And then they get really bummed out or really beat up on themselves and are really hard on themselves and like, man, I can't even do this thing. And then sometimes people who have an all or nothing mindset tend to want to throw the whole goal away or feel like they have to completely start over again. I see this a lot with especially the gym or working out because people want to maybe follow a workout plan or routine immediately, and maybe that routine or that plan is set up where you're going 5 times in the week or something like that. But these are really big expectations to put on your body and your brain if you're not someone who's already been going to the gym and building into this. Like just to immediately jump into something every single day of the week, or at a certain time and expect yourself to be there all of a sudden and continue to do that and have the energy, stamina, and the neural pathways in your brain, habits in your body and your muscle memory to just go and do that and build that into your routine. It's really hard, and I'm not saying that you couldn't theoretically do it, and I'm sure people do and they have success, but for a lot of people, I don't see it working out great. And I coach a lot of people and I see them really just needing more of a slower start to things or fewer exercises, small pieces into building into bigger pieces. So the weekly target concept is that you think of something that you want to do and then you piece it down to a small digestible thing that you can do that day or that week or even that month, depending on how you want to space out your goals, but I recommend days or weeks, that you can accomplish where you feel like you've won. Like you've done that thing, you accomplished your goal, you checked it off, it's satisfying, you achieved it, and then you feel so confident that since you achieved it at that small scale level, okay, next week I can make that a little bit bigger, or next week I can do that a little bit more, or I can add a day, whatever the goal is for you. So I actually started to write mine down, and I would start with one thing, and that was my first weekly target, and I would build on that one thing until I had that weekly target or that specific goal, say it was going to the gym, down pat. So if my goal was, hey, I want to be someone that goes to the gym 4 times a week, I worked on getting a habit in of going to the gym and building up to a number that I felt like I could sustain easily. And then I added in another thing. Okay, now I want to add in that I'm going to start reading more often. Now I'm going to add in, I want to start a side hustle driving for DoorDash. And so I would start slowly adding in things over time and implementing them into my routine and into my schedule. But I would also make sure that each thing that I added it in a small piece first. So I wasn't trying to drive for DoorDash every day suddenly and not being able to keep up with it, right? So try to analyze your goals, look at what your long-term goal is, and try to be realistic with yourself. Now, the way that I wrote this down on paper was basically I wrote down weekly targets at the top of just a regular notebook, and then I would draw a big T, and then I would write whatever the goal was of the thing that I wanted to do, and then I would draw little boxes underneath, and then I would just check them off. And the beauty of this is there wasn't a day of the week, there wasn't a certain time, there wasn't a time that I could miss. I couldn't be like, oh man, I really wanted to do that Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, but Tuesday night at 7 o'clock passed and I didn't get to do it because work held me late, and then there was traffic, and then I was really tired, and then I had to cook, and so I didn't get to do it. So it didn't make it feel like I'd missed anything, or I'd missed out on my opportunity to achieve that thing for the week, or even the overwhelm of, oh man, now I have to try to find another time or space to reschedule this exact thing. For me, it worked to just have a number of boxes that I could check off, and maybe I did it on Monday, maybe I did it on Wednesday, maybe I did it on Friday and Saturday. Maybe that week I got to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I didn't for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's okay. Maybe it was, I only had a 2-day target for something, and so I was able to do it on Tuesday and then on a Saturday for a short period of time, whatever the thing was. And then I would just check that off, and I would try to achieve, reach the goal of however many boxes or however many times during the week that I wanted to do that thing. And sometimes there would be weeks that I wouldn't reach the goal. So say I had reading down pat to where I was reading twice a week really consistently, and I'd reach that goal of twice a week. And I thought, hey, this next week I'm going to add in a third box, and I am going to read for 3 times this week. Maybe that didn't happen. Maybe I still read the 2, and I was like, oh, dang, at the end of the week, I didn't read that 3rd time, and there's that empty box sitting there. I didn't beat myself up about it. I just looked at what was reasonable, looked at what was feasible, and just kind of kept that same goal for the next week and just rolled it over. So each week, I would draw a new page of weekly targets, and I would just reassess how I did with the targets from the previous week, and then roll that over to the next week. Did I want to maintain exactly what I was doing, and that's totally fine and great? Or did I want to try to add something? And you don't have to add something every week. You can keep doing the same things to help build those neural pathways with that repetition, and then just add in slowly when you feel ready. Maybe you wanted to keep 2 days a week on reading, and you felt really good about that, and you were satisfied with that, but you were like, I want to add in something else. Maybe I want to add in stretching more. I want to get more flexible, whatever the goal is for you. Maybe I want to add in practicing my instrument more. And so now that I feel comfortable that I'm reading twice a week consistently and I'm going to the gym 4 times a week, let me add in 1 day a week of my instrument practice instead of a 3rd day of reading. It really just depends on what you feel is scalable for you and what you actually want for your life. What are your goals? Is it so important that you're reading every day? Or are you happy with maybe reading 3 days a week and then spending the other days a week on something else? So that's up to you. But I did want to give you a little example of how I would draw out the weekly target. It's really, really simple. You just have a normal notebook, normal pen, really easy. And you can see here just at the top, I wrote weekly targets. And then you can see that I just wrote, I drew this big T. And then my first one was like, okay, walk. So this would not be how I would start out unless I was already someone who walked a couple days a week. I would probably start with 1 or 2 boxes if I was just trying to start this habit. And then I would check these off as the week goes every time I took a walk. And it's okay if maybe one day the walk was an hour and another day was 15 minutes. That's totally fine. It was just getting into the habit of going on the walk and then checking it off on my targets. Here's reading. I wanted to reach 3 days a week. Here is stretching. I wanted to reach 2 days a week, and then maybe my brand new goal is to drive for DoorDash as a side hustle, and so I'm going to try to fit that in 1 time this week. And if I don't reach that, I'll just roll that goal over, and when I make my weekly targets for the next week, I would just do 1 box again and just try to DoorDash 1 time because I didn't achieve that goal last week. Another thing to do just to kind of help visualize and see your progress is write a date up here in the corner of the notebook, just to show the dates that it's through. So you don't even have to start on a Monday and then on a Sunday or anything like that. I think when I started it, I think I randomly started it on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. And so Wednesday was always like my new week to start for the targets. Like I just sat down and did it, because why would I wait Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, wait 4 more days to start working on my new goals and habits when I could just start right now? The day of the week really doesn't matter, but it is fun to put the dates down so that you can see your progress and see how the goals and targets shift, and then also to keep track of what's the time frame for this week. Like, what is the start date of the week? What is the end date of this week? So this is just a fun thing. You can have a notebook you can keep, you can look back and you can see what's changed. And then over time, you might not even need to write everything down on your notebook for your targets. Like if you have implemented something into your life and it's literally become second nature and it's not a big deal at all for you, you get up, you do it, it's part of your routine now, you might not need to write that on your targets anymore. You can phase out things off the weekly targets if they're just something you don't care about anymore. Maybe it was something that was short term, or maybe it was something that you reached the goal for, or you decided you didn't want to do anymore and you take it off. Or maybe it's something that's just, like I said, become really easy, really second nature, and you don't need it on there anymore. There was a time when I had huge columns on both sides. I would write something, draw a line, write something, draw a line, and I had all of these targets and goals, and it was working for me for a long time. Now I have phased a lot of those out, and I have a lot smaller weekly targets. And sometimes I don't even make one anymore. If I feel like, hey, everything that I'm doing right now I feel like is enough, it's solid, I'm making the progress I want, I just leave it alone and I don't make another one. So anyways, I hope this idea of building habits and a way to kind of track progress, track habits, and help you implement your goals was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please share them in the comments below the video. I would love to hear about other people reaching their goals, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to answer them. I hope you have a great day and good luck.